Well, Ken are not the only team out in San Antonio for Deep East Texas here today. The San Augustine Wolves looking for their first state title, facing off against Panhandle since 1973. But back here in Lake Charles, as you can see right behind me, celebration net cutting down as the SFA Lady Jacks are Southland champions for the second straight season. Well, for the final time here in this regular season, we have a doubleheader here at the William R. Johnson Coliseum between the SFA Lumber and Lady Jacks and the Nichols Colonels. It's an absolutely ruckus crowd right inside this building behind me in the sawmill, so let's go ahead and dive into those highlights. Well, the Lumberjack faithful have been waiting 15 years for a playoff game back here at Homer Bryce Stadium, and it's safe to say it certainly did not disappoint. A rivalry revenge game to move on in the postseason, and it's all Axum Jacks here in NAC. For the first time since 2010, the SFA Lumberjacks are going to be hosting an FCS playoff game. The Jacks learning their fate during their watch party at the Baker Patillo Student Center earlier today, clinching the number 7 seed in the FCS playoffs. And it's safe to say these guys right here, yeah, pretty excited about getting to play at home one last time here in 2025. Especially in nowadays college football, is that he's got that SFA logo next to his name. I think if he puts up the same stats, same athleticism score at a Power 4 school, he's like a potential first round pick at the back end of it, because he's got the athleticism and he's got the stats to back it up. He had 4 picks this past season. It's just the competition he's facing just wasn't all that great in the South. And if you compare that to, what Jermon McCoy was facing back in 2024, Mansour Delane, 2 of the top guys who are going to get taken in the first round more than likely, especially with Mansour, he's going to end up being that, top 10 guy. He's going to be the first corner off the board here.
Wearing number 16, he tallies on it tonight. Incomplete.
Angelina softball over the weekend held their annual sophomore day, honoring the next generation of lady runners, including Sherino's own Addison Babbs. On Sunday, before the Angelina softball team took the field to face the San Jacinto Ravens, the Lady Runners celebrated their graduating class of 2026. And although she's yet to take an at-bat or field a ground ball this season, sophomore Addison Babbs got the chance to put on Angelina orange and blue for one last time.
My first thought, what I wanted to do when I got here, was I just wanted to put my uniform on. So I said hi to everybody, and then I was just like, I got to go put my uniform on. It was really my main priority.
It was the first time that Addison had been back to Angelina College since being diagnosed with ovarian cancer on November 20th, 2025.
When I found out, and I stressed for like 3 days, and then I was just like, I said my prayers at night, and I was like, Lord, let me just give this to you. And so I just gave it to him, and I did not think twice about it. Like, I did not lose sleep over it or anything.
After her diagnosis, Addison underwent surgery to remove a 7-pound tumor that spanned across her entire pelvis. And once she was out of surgery, Addison took "I feel lighter" to a whole new meaning.
Oh, as soon as I had surgery and woke up the next morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I literally gave birth. And they were like, yeah, you did, basically.
Addison's next steps would have to follow almost 2 months later, undergoing 26 rounds of chemotherapy in the span of 10 weeks and showing a level of strength that most hope they never have to conjure.
Addison is by far the strongest person I've ever met, and I don't say that because she's my child. I think many people who followed her story for years now will say that, you know, spiritually she's very strong, but mentally, when you're going through cancer, your mentality has to be there 100%, because this is not just a spiritual warfare, it's also a mental game. And if your mentality is that I'm going to lose this battle, you're going to lose this battle.
And after 6 months of scans, tests, surgery, and chemo, all of Addison's strength paid off in the end. Ringing the bell and being declared cancer-free.
I already knew in my mind that I was cancer-free, you know, because sometimes you have to wait for 100% to be cancer-free. I never once second-guessed that it was going to be that for me. I knew that there wasn't going to be anything on the PET scans, but honestly, I was just like a million different emotions at once. I was so relieved, but I was also so emotional, because it's like I did that, like I beat cancer.
While this chapter of Addison Babbs' story has come to a close, she doesn't want her next to be described as the girl who beat cancer.
I want to be known as somebody who pushed others and just had faith in every situation. I mean, I think that's really what I've had through every situation I've gone through, especially with my brain tumor and cancer. And so I want to be known as somebody who has ground-shaking faith.
Addison plans to continue her academic career and earn her master's to become an occupational therapist, but she still wants to continue her athletic career as well at the collegiate level. Well, the Lumberjack faithful have been waiting 15 years for a playoff game back here at Homer Bryce Stadium, and it's safe to say it certainly did not disappoint. A rivalry revenge game to move on in the postseason, and it's all Axum Jacks here in NAC.
AC tried to end our season. So we ended theirs.
The SFA Lumberjacks are quarterfinals bound for the first time in 16 years after taking down Abilene Christian 41-34. And the Purple Haze coming out to Homer Bryce in droves. 8,645 in attendance, throwing a little stadium pulse when it mattered most.
It was a third down, I believe. I just hear the crowd surging, and I look over and see everybody off their feet. I can't even hear my safety giving me the call. I had to run up to him, and he's like, "Hey, what's?" You know, something we couldn't get, and we haven't had that energy around here in a long time, man. And it does more than just, you know, gives us an experience. It gives us something to play for, man.
And with the state of NIL and the transfer portal that's made its mark on the NCAA, the Lumberjacks building a culture that money can't replace.
I love these guys. I love what they're about. I love why they play, and they play for man up above, and they play for each other. And every one of these guys, these two in particular, turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars to stay here and finish their career and get their degree and finish as lumberjacks. And this day is just another reason why.
And it's all coming to fruition for guys like Kylon Harris. 11 catches, 183 yards, and a one-handed grab to put the Jacks ahead for good.
I feel like it's muscle memory. I worked on catches like that. I work hard for those opportunities. So when it comes, it's not anything new. I feel like I was an important piece to the game plan, and I knew I had to win my one-on-one, and that's why I went out and did.
Well, the Lumberjacks will head to icy Bozeman, Montana this time next week to face off against the number 2 seed Montana State Bobcats in the quarterfinal round of the FCS playoffs. From Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches, I'm Ryan Smith, East Texas Sports. Well, stickball playoffs continue here in the Piney Woods, even through the wet weather we've been having over these past couple of days. So let's go ahead and check out some of those highlights. The Grapeland Sandies and Alto Yellow Jackets facing in the bi-district round. Diego Fajardo with a hard out to center field, but it'll bring home a run in the second. Sandies now up 5-3. They'd push across 4 more in the inning, including this 2-out RBI single from trailing Gaines. Sandies would win game 1 in a rout 16-6 in 5 innings. Game 2 shortly after game 1 following suit. So far, Grapeland leading 6-3 heading into the 6th inning. And taking a look at some of our other scores on the baseball diamond across the Piney Woods, Central Heights taking care of the Boona Cougars with ease, 10-0 the final there. And talk about a shootout between the Garrison Bulldogs and the Groveton Indians. Garrison opening up the day with the 9th spot in the first, but the Indians pushing until the very end. Bulldogs, though, staving off the comeback 11-8 in game 1. And over across the way from Grapeland and Alto, Central Heights facing off in the area round against Anderson Shira on the softball diamond. 1-0 Lady Devil lead in the second. Carly Mock laying down a beautiful bunt with 2 runners on. Lady Devils try to backpick the runner at second, but she gets back in safe, while Kaylee Longoria coming in from third to tie this game up at 1 apiece. Central Heights, though, tough as nails, not letting the error determine this one. Lady Devils winning game 1 7-6. And checking out some of the other softball scores here in East Texas. Central with a close win over Cold Springs Oakhurst 3-2, while the Brooklyn Lady Cats coming off their first state title appearance in program history last year, making it back to the region semis after taking down Apple Springs in 2 games, 15-2 earlier today. The Astros and Orioles facing off in game 1 of their doubleheader. Bottom of the 5th, O's up 1-0. Adley Rutschman getting a hold of one out to deep center field, track, wall, in and out of the glove of Bryce Matthews, and it's a grand slam for Baltimore and Rutschman's 3rd of his career. You can see it here. It just goes in and out of his glove. Then in the 7th, same situation, same result. Different name, though. Jeremiah Jackson with the 2nd grand slam of the game for the O's. They take game 1 10-3 before Houston getting their get back in game 2 11-5. And before we go, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Over in the NBA playoffs, the Knicks and Hawks, game 6 of the series, and it's a record-breaking game just at the half, with the Knicks setting the all-time record for the largest lead at the half in NBA playoff history, taking a 47-point lead against the Hawks here in game 6. The previous record held by last year's Pacers team and the 2017 Cavs was at 41 points. In this game, not even close for the Hawks, booking their flights to Cancun maybe during the halfway break in a 140-89 loss. Well, that's all the time we have for In Sports here tonight, but be sure to stick around as we look more coming up after the break.